What's up, Dragon Brood? Now today, we're going to do something a little different. A bunch of you know I am a fan of the Gruul decks whenever I get a chance to play them, but we really haven't had a lot of innovation in those decks in quite a little bit. But, the adventure stuff has been good and no reason not to play it. And to be fair, we're probably still going to be playing some of the adventure stuff today to at least some extent. But one thing we're going to try today is we're going to be playing a Gruul Combo deck. And let me say this, I was actually working on this deck for a couple days, and then I came across a video from Star City with Corey Baumeister and Ross Merriman, and they were already playing a version of this deck. So I'm going to be upfront here and say that I kind of swapped a card after seeing their list, and really ultimately our lists were only 2 cards different in general. So sometimes great minds, I guess. But it's kind of a quirky deck and a little weird, but if you want to actually play a combo, here's one way you can do it. And you're doing it in Gruul colors, which is something you don't get to do all that often. So let's go take a look at what this weird Gruul combo deck looks like. Now overall, this list is going to look a little bit weird, but there are going to be some familiar cards here too. So let's just start at the top. I think everybody knows what Edgewall Innkeeper is. This the one mana 1/1. Play an adventure card, get to draw a card. Plain and simple. Doesn't even have to come into play. You get your card. Now, one of the more interesting cards we're getting to play with here is Fiend Artisan, mostly because this combo is based around a bunch of creatures. So being able to use Fiend Artisan to say get rid of your Innkeeper to go find one of your combo pieces is pretty good. Also, late in the game, you can just draw a Fiend Artisan and just be able to attack for 4, 5, 7, 8 attack. Just like gets bigger for each creature in your graveyard. So you can't really be that upset about the card early game or late game, as it can really facilitate getting some stuff done in both phases of the game. Then we have Burji, God of Storytelling. Now, this is one of the key cards in here because what it's going to allow us to do is every time we play a creature, we're going to be able to get an additional red mana. We will be able to activate stuff more than once if you have Boast, but that's not really what we're looking for. Now, Burji does have the backside, that's the Horn for 5 mana that does let you discard a card, look at the top 2, and then you get to play them, so it's like that's fine. But again, not necessarily something we're going to want to do unless it's desperation time and we're just trying to dig deep. But remember, Burji is also a 3/3, so if you got to get down and fight, she can do that too. Bone Crusher Giant, don't really think there's much to say about a Bone Crusher Giant. I think we all kind of know this is probably the most played card in Standard at this point. But here we go. Here's one of the new cards, Grinning Ingus here, which is actually one of the key points in the deck. So it's a 3 mana 2/2. You can pay 1 red, return it to your hand, and then you add 2 colorless and a red. You can only activate it anytime you can activate a sorcery. Now, the reason this is cool is when you have Burji in play, you can go ahead and you cast this, you get a red mana. Then you return the Ingus to your hand. That gives you 2 colorless and a red, which conveniently is the same cost as the Ingus at being 2 colorless and a red. So as long as you have Burji on the table, you kind of have an infinite cycle of being able to recast this a bunch of times. Now, you're probably saying, why do you just want to cast this a bunch of times? Well, we're going to get to that here in just a second. Now, one of the other cards we have here is Lovestruck Beast. It's an early play, it's a late play, it's a 5/5 body. Nothing to be too upset about. Now, one of the things I do have in this list, which has been different than some of the other lists I've seen here, is Battle Mammoth. And the reason I'm playing Battle Mammoth, one, it is just a big body. It's a 6/5. It does also trample, so I appreciate that. But it does kind of force your opponent into some choices, right? They almost have to kill the Battle Mammoth instead of killing your other stuff, because if they are, it's just going to help you draw and find more of your combo pieces again. So I'm going to go ahead and play this and just see how it works. But I can see a lot of situations where if you do just top deck the card, it's nothing bad to fight with at all. And then if they use targeted removal, you get something for your troubles. So I'm a big fan of trying it out. I've been looking for some spot to play Battle Mammoth, and this is one of them. And Battle Mammoth isn't even a new card. It's from the last set, but it's at least an opportunity. Now, remember where we were looking to see, like, how can we combo with that Ingus situation? Well, here we are with Terror of the Peaks. If you get to bounce an Ingus multiple times, well, every time it comes into play, you're going to get to deal that damage with Terror of the Peaks. So if you set that up, the game's just over. You bounce it 6 times, 10 times, whatever you need to do to get those last points of damage on your opponent. Now, a 5 mana 5/4 is still fine all its own. It's flying. If your opponent targets it, they lose 3 life. So, still great. I mean, imagine this alongside the Battle Mammoth, right? Your opponent's just going to end up taking 3 damage and you get a card. That's like a real kick in the pants. But overall, this card really does a lot in this list, and your other creatures aren't slouches either. So, sometimes just having a Terror of the Peaks is going to win games by itself. Then we're playing Fire Prophecy, just a way to kind of filter your hand a little bit, let you find some other cards you're looking for. But the Great Hinge. And the interesting thing about the Great Hinge is that it fits the combo very well because, again, if you don't have your Terror of the Peaks, you can just keep replaying Ingus to just get whatever cards you want. You could draw your whole deck. You can set up your hand from 0 cards to 7 cards to be perfect. And then you're ready to go after that, right? So you can do a lot here. And remember, each time you're also, well, you're only going to gain life the first time you tap it. So you don't have to worry about that. But you'll be getting a 3/3 Ingus, which kind of matters, I guess, if you need to speed things up. But either way, just getting infinite cards or infinite damage is pretty sweet. Then for the lands, nothing special here. We're going 4 Crag Crown Pathway, 4 Fabled Passage, 5 Forest, 6 Mountain, 4 Temple of Abandon. And I would almost recommend trying the Snarl here as we have in the new list for some of the other decks. But here, I don't think you want it. I think you do want the Temple to be able to scry. And the reason being is you're looking for different combo pieces. So anything you can play that's going to really help you out, get a little deeper in the deck, draw some extra cards, really going to facilitate that. So overall, this is kind of a cool list, and it's neat to see a combo that we were able to put together in Gruul. And as far as I'm looking, if we go through the list, really, Ingus is kind of like the only new card you have to go looking for. So if you've been playing other versions of Gruul, I mean, all you got to do is craft this common, and you're kind of good to go, right? I mean, like, this seems like a good deal. So why not? Okay, 2 quick things I want to correct there. I realized I had been saying Ingus this whole time. It's actually Ignis is the card. And I believe it was previously printed as a common, but in Strixhaven, it's actually an uncommon. So you may have to burn a couple of uncommon wild cards. If you need one in cash or paper or whatever, probably only going to end up costing you like 50 to 70 cents. So you're probably not going to do too bad on it. Unless the deck takes off, then maybe it'll cost you $1. So either way, easy one to build. But that's the other good part. If you already have most of the Gruul pieces, you could build this with very little effort. We didn't even really add any lands from the new set into it, so most of this is stuff you should already have, which is awesome. The other thing here that's cool is, like I said, it's a combo deck you get to play in Gruul. But the neat thing is, it can still function like a normal Gruul list. You're going to get those draws where you just play your adventure cards and do your thing. Maybe you get to beat down with the Battle Mammoth. You know, maybe you get an early Great Hinge and you're just drawing a bunch of cards. And then maybe you just find the combo and you just go off, right? So it gives you 2 elements that you can do the beatdown thing like normal, because all the cards, really except for the Ingus, are all still pretty relevant. But then the other side of that is you can just go off if things do get clogged up for some reason. So I like having that other angle of attack to the list, but time will tell if it's any good. And remember, you can get this deck list down in the description below, but you will not be able to load it into Arena until the set goes live on the 15th. Just keep that in mind. But one thing you can do in the meantime is you can like this video because that'll help us get seen by more people. Then hit the subscribe button and that notification bell because that lets me know you appreciate these type of lists. But more importantly, it lets you know every time I have a video up. And that's a good reminder. So when the season does start, you'll be able to hop right back to the channel, download the list, and then you're ready to go whenever it goes live. But that's all I have for you for now. We'll see you next time.